Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Lockie and today I am back with some more F1 2015 gameplay, but this is something I've been talking about doing for a while. I haven't been able to do because I've been sick or I haven't been in a house to be able to do it, or have internet or anything like that. This is my prediction for the Chinese Grand Prix. Now I've been wanting to do this for the Bahrain and Australian one, but as I said, I haven't been in the house or I've been sick. So, this whole race where everyone finishes and that is obviously just me racing, and maybe where people finish, may not be. So, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think it'll be that, whatever, but you never know. But the news since the last race is been interesting. There's been, talks of Alonso still might not take this race just because of his fractured rib and collapsed lung. Obviously he thinks he's well enough, but reading an interview he doesn't even sound too sure that he'll make it, because having those, not an easy thing to walk away, and this track is very physically demanding. Like, you have to be physically and mentally demanding, and you have to be 100% the whole race. Where some races you can just chill out and all that, and even if you're by yourself in a race you can chill out and do whatever you want. In this, you kind of do have to stay on it right to the end, and that I just don't think Alonso is going to be able to do. But we'll see. Other news hasn't really been a lot. I've been trying to keep up with it as much as possible. Doesn't seem to be too much. In going into this race, I feel like it's going to be an interesting strategy. That's one thing that came out, is Mercedes does think it's going to be very interesting strategies here, and I agree. It's very hard track on your front tyres. Very hard, because you can see it's all high speed, long corners that you need to brake in, which destroys your front tyres. So, we could be seeing a 2 to 3 stop, possibly a 4 stop, depending on who gets what tyre. I don't think it'll be a 1 stop race. It's definitely going to have to be higher than that. So we will, wait and see what happens. But as I said, strategy, which puts the Red Bull Daniel Ricciardo. So, by the way, why I picked Daniel Ricciardo for this, I think the big winners, who I think's going to have a good race going into the weekend, not going to win, or not going to get a podium necessarily. I'm saying the big winners going into the race, and like when I do the review, it's the big winner of the weekend. So this is my thought of going in. The reason why I say Ricciardo's going to have, well, as you can see, long straight. There's a couple of straights that is a little long that could affect Red Bull, and there's a lot of slow corners to get out of. So obviously this engine isn't going to work, but the engine's not that bad actually. Everyone's been talking about it being underperforming. Yes, it is. It's not got the power that Mercedes does. It's not got the power that Ferrari does. Still a freaking good engine though. Not only that, the chassis is the best chassis on the field. You can't argue that. Ricciardo in Bahrain took damage to his front left wing, lost the whole thing except for the bottom thing. Fine. Finished, I think, 4th. Like, it shows you that they have such a solid chassis that they lose that, and I still think that Ricciardo would have gotten a podium if he had not lost that front wing. If he was fine with his, the front wing was fine, everything was fine, he would have gotten a podium without doubt. So going into this, he does stand a chance because he will be fast in the corners. Obviously not the straight, but he will be able to fight. So I believe he could possibly get 3rd. Now I don't know who's going to get the top 2. It could be between Rosberg, Hamilton and Vettel. And you might be wondering, well, if it's going to be between those 3, why do I think Ricciardo's going to get a podium? First of all, if anyone makes a mistake, Ricciardo's got a podium, because he'll be there. Without a doubt, he's got to be there, because the car's just so good on its tyres, and it's such a good chassis that when I say it's 2-3 stops, everyone who's doing a 3-stopper, he can do it too. He can possibly do a hard to a double soft run where everyone does a, you know, double hard to one soft. So he probably has better tire choice and everything. Like, being good on your tires really opens the door for a whole lot. So if they make a mistake, he'll be there. Strategy wise, he'll be there. I feel like if all three of them are fine, then yeah, he's obviously not going to get podium. But I also have this funny feeling that, and I feel like it's more Rosberg, but I could be horribly wrong here, that someone is going to DNF. One of those three, Vettel, Hamilton, or Rosberg. One of them is going to DNF this race. Whether it's a DNS, like Vettel had at Bahrain, did not start, or it's a DNF, or they have an accident and they finish down the field. Could be anything, but I do have a feeling that one of them isn't going to be there, and I have a strong feeling that it is going to be a Mercedes. So that's those guys. Danny Kvyat, the other Ricardo's teammate, I don't think he'll be a big winner. I think he'll get, you know, 6 or 7. We're going back to the old qualifying. Actually, that's big news, so I forgot about that. We're going back to the old qualifying system that we had last year. So you have 18 minutes in Q1 to get top 16 or top 15. If you're not, you're eliminated. Go into Q2. You have 15 minutes, and you know you have to be in the top 10. If you're not, eliminated. And then it goes 12 minutes. Oh, sorry. And you get your, like, whoever's where in the top 10 finishes. So that's kind of how it's going back to. So Kvyat should be able to get top 10. He shouldn't get screwed over. I didn't see last qualifying, so I don't know why he got screwed over, or if he had a problem or anything. He shouldn't. He's a good driver, don't get me wrong. He's in Formula 1. He's not the best driver on the field. You know, Ricciardo's better, Verstappen's better, Sainz better. I don't feel like Kvyat will be there next year if Ricciardo is there. I'll get into contracts in a minute because I want to go on a good rant about it. So yeah, so I feel like Kvyat will get about 56. Toro Rosso will be up there. They'll probably be, you know, 4th, 5th or 6th, you know, fighting around there. Williams, I don't think will be there because of how aerodynamically it will be. They'll probably be more the 8th, 9th, 10th range. Force India, I kind of feel like I'm going to try and hit back hard this week and get around there as well. First the top 10, I'm not going to go throughout the whole field because God knows. Haas, sorry, I should mention Haas, I totally forgot about them. They could probably be somewhere, but I absolutely have no clue where they're going to turn out. You know, they are such a mystery because they do okay in practice, they do okay in qualifying, and then it comes to the race and they go, oh my fucking god. So the data that I get from them isn't good enough for me to base a good result. Probably points finish, without a doubt, with Grosjean behind the wheel. Grosjean, by the way, I do think Grosjean is a phenomenal driver. He did have a shitty start at the start of the, you know, his career. He was just a little too eager and aggressive, and he didn't tone it down for Formula 1. So I just, yeah, he's learned, he knows his mistakes, he hasn't had an accident in a very long time. I feel like he's a good driver. He's definitely worth a look at to replace Raikkonen. Yet again, get that in a second. So that's all. That's everything for my predictions for the Chinese Grand Prix. I really do think that that's kind of how everyone's going to go and how everyone's going to do. Obviously, might be wrong, probably will be wrong with some things I say. But you guys let me know your predictions and your thoughts for this race. You know, as I said, these are my opinions and I'd love to hear you guys. So make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, because as I said, I'll be doing this all the time, and I'll have a review out on Tuesday, maybe Monday, but we'll see time-wise and all that. And yeah, if you like this, leave a like. You know, it shows me that you guys like it, and it just, you know, I should keep doing it. Now, I will get into contracts because this is going to be very interesting. it's kind of like a big talking point that not many people have been talking about other things about it. So, as I was saying, so we'll start with Ferrari. Ferrari's going to be interesting. So Vettel's obviously staying. He's still got another year on his contract, and I'm sure they're going to extend that if they haven't already. I don't know if they actually did after last year, but I do. Obviously, Raikkonen's going. He's just naturally 3/10 off Vettel. He can't beat Vettel. No matter how hard he tries, he just cannot do it. So he'll be gone. Now it's the question of, well, who takes his place? Carlos Sainz's contract expires for Toro Rosso, although he might be looped into a 10-year Red Bull contract. And if you don't know what that is, when they're young, they sign them on for 10 years and say you have to drive for the Red Bull team, whether what division you're in, whether it's GP2, GP3, Formula Renault, whatever. You have to be in a Red Bull car or Red Bull team for 10 years. And some people have been sucked into that, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't know if Carlos Sainz is, and I don't know if Ricciardo is, but I think Ricciardo's is expired because I don't know. So either way, Ricciardo's free to go at the end of the year. So something's happened with if he has it that allows him to leave. So I think, Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz maybe, Grosjean, and not many people have been talking about this, Rosberg are all kind of in line for that Ferrari seat. And you might be saying, Rosberg, why Rosberg? Contract expires this year, and I don't think Mercedes are going to want this feud that's going on. They're going to want drivers working together now that Ferrari is catching. So it's a little risky putting someone else into the Mercedes, but that could be their best bet. Now I'll get to who I think can go there. So these are the drivers that clearly are going to go for Ferrari. My best bet is I can't pick between them. It will be either Grosjean or Ricciardo. And the reason why I say those two drivers is purely on the fact that Haas has kind of been formed to be a Ferrari junior team, like Toro Rosso to Red Bull. Obviously not set in stone, not anything, but they are that close, and the way that they have been to Ferrari, everyone kind of sees it as Ferrari's junior team. They don't want to admit they are, but they really are. So it kind of seems like they're nurturing Grosjean, put Grosjean in a good car, see what he can do. They didn't know how good Lotus was, but they didn't have as much data. Now Ferrari gets to look at every single little bit of data on Grosjean and find out if he'll suit their car. So he'll be one, because of how well he's been doing, to go there. Ricciardo will also be the other one, because Ricciardo doesn't necessarily want to stay with Red Bull, because they're on Renault for this year, and I believe they're going to be on Renault for next year. And then everyone's forgetting that 2018 Audi's coming into the sport and they get an Audi engine, which is a new manufacturer. Now, me and my dad have a little bit of a bet that he thinks Audi's going to come in and do shocking like McLaren. I think Audi's going to come in, and I'm not saying they'll win the constructors, I'm not saying they'll win the championship. They'll win a race in their first year. If not, they'll get consecutive podiums. Purely on the fact that you look at Audi's sport pedigree. Le Mans, they're not unbeatable, but they're always there. They're one of the strongest contenders. A lot of fields have an Audi R8 or an Audi car. Audi is up there and one of the best manufacturers in racing that you can go for. And Red Bull really want them because they know their history. You look at the portfolio of Audi and it's phenomenal. It's one of the best engine manufacturers you can have. So they're not coming in to half-ass it, They're coming into Formula One. They're putting all their money in. Honda did that, but Honda didn't have a lot of money to put into it. They quit rally, they quit a lot of things because they couldn't afford to do Formula One and that, because they knew they needed the money to develop these engines. So that kind of shows you that Honda was a little tight on their money. Audi's not going to be. Audi's just coming into this to win it. They're not coming in to half-ass it, second best. They're in it to win it. So they'll come in and they'll do well. But yet again, Ricciardo won't want to be there for that, purely on the fact that he's still going to go another year in a Renault engine, and then he's going to a new engine. He's not going to be contending, so it's another 2 to possibly 3 years before he'll be fighting for a championship. A guaranteed fight for a championship, not just oh, he could possibly win it. You know, it's one of those things that I just feel he'll choose Ferrari, because Ferrari's kind of, next year they should be there. They should be at Mercedes, knocking at the door saying, hello, we're here, we're fighting for your championship, we're done with you winning it. Now I understand there's all these new rules and regulations, which also benefit, you know, Red Bull. But I'll get into that in a second. So I feel like Ricciardo is either going to go to Red Bull or Mercedes. Now, people I think that can go to Mercedes if Rosberg leaves, which I really do think he leaves. And I kind of hope he leaves, because I'm sick of this feud, you know. There's always these spats, there's always these arguments. It's like, Christ, you know, it's not a healthy team. They're not working together to get this car. So I kind of hope he goes. Obviously, I don't care if it's him or Hamilton, but Hamilton's, you know, look at what he's done. So I feel like, yeah, Rosberg will go. Ricciardo's definitely looking, it will be one of the hot seats for that. Sainz, probably. Verstappen, you might be wondering why I haven't mentioned Verstappen. Verstappen was a 3-year deal. Everyone's forgetting that they signed Verstappen for 3 and Sainz for 2. Because Sainz was always going to get the choice first. And obviously, if Ricciardo leaves Red Bull, one of those drivers is moving up. Probably Sainz if he's staying with the Red Bull team. And then he'll have a year. If and when he outperforms Kvyat, Verstappen will move up. New talent. Will go into the Toro Rosso. So that's how all that's working. So we'll get into the rules. Oh, sorry, Mercedes. So it's Ricciardo. Grosjean won't be one of the picks. Pascal Wehrlein is, because they kind of seem to push Mercer into having him in this year, and he's already doing wonders. I think he'll need one more year before going to Mercedes. That's kind of why I think more Ricciardo's there. Pretty much contracts this year is going to be who's going to get Ricciardo, because Ricciardo is that driver on the market. It's like Vettel, like who's going to get Vettel? It's basically who's going to get Ricciardo. He is a driver that needs a car, and I'm not saying this just because I'm Australian. He is a phenomenal driver. He's quick, he's kind on his tyres, which is the oddest combinations, but he's one of the fastest drivers out there. I think if you put all their drivers in their prime and you put them against each other, I wouldn't say all the drivers on the field. I'd say Ricciardo would be fighting for the win, you know. Obviously, you have Alonso in his prime was phenomenal, and Vettel in his, you know, well, Vettel's kind of still in his prime, but you got Vettel and everyone, and Hamilton and all that. But Ricciardo just seems to have this something else. And as I said, he's kind on his tyres and he's ridiculously quick. Don't know how, but it's something that works. So I feel like, you know, if he gets the right seat, he will be pushing for championships easy. So he'll be the hot driver for this contract season. So keep an eye out for him. Now, as I was saying, rules and regulations. So next year, I'm not 100% clear. They haven't locked it in. They postponed it to the end of this month to lock in the rules. So there will be chassis changes from what we're hearing. There will be some slight engine changes, which kind of makes me feel, okay, Ferrari's kind of going to get a little bit of an advantage out of this than Mercedes. But from what I'm hearing, these changes aren't benefiting the smaller teams. It's only benefiting front runners, which is I don't agree with. Should benefit the back runners. Give the back runners a chance to move up. I understand as well they're trying to lose rules, not just the talking rules. They're trying to lose rules to design chassis and engines to kind of open it up a little bit more, like what they did with this year. The engines rules are opened up. This is why Renault and Ferrari are doing so well. They're like, well, this is the direction we want to go. We couldn't because of the rules. Now we can go that way. Whereas Mercedes are just kind of locked into their road. So I feel like, you know, it's going to be interesting 2017. It's obviously going to be a hefty fight to see who's going to... get where. As I said, contracts this year for drivers is going to be phenomenal. You know, and it's just a little bit of everything. It's just going to be absolutely phenomenal, and next year's going to really light it up. Now, I do hope next year, and this is something that I really would like your guys' opinion on, because I have heard rumors about, you know, everyone's heard rumors about these safety cells, these halos, and all that. My opinion, it's killing the sport if they introduce it. For Formula 1 driver, you come into this, you do this, you have this risk. It's part of what you do, you know. It's hard to explain, but to me it feels like this risk that's there is okay. Yes, someone might die, but the last time someone did was Jules Bianchi. Okay, understandable, but he went under a 2 to 3 ton truck with an F1 car, so it's about 3 to 4 tons. He went under. No safety cell was going to save him, unfortunately. And as much of a shame as that is, I understand. And then you look back, and I think it was when Senna died, which I should, but I don't know off the top of my head. And it's like, it's been so long, and I understand why everyone wants to introduce these changes, but there's a degree of risk, and I feel like it should be allowed. Like, you look at the accident that Alonso had, got up and walked away, collapsed lung and a broken rib. That's very typical for those kind of accidents, because it's actually the harness that does it, not anything else, you know. I feel like it's just how it should be, you know, blocking it off, getting rid of the open cockpit, and no matter what you do, it's always going to get gone. You know, you're never going to absolutely keep it. I think that's just wrong, in my opinion. But I really do want your opinion on that, because that's one of the huge changes, and I don't like it. And even if they do introduce it, they should say it's up to the drivers. The drivers have a voice of we want it or we don't want it, because they're also trying to enforce it, and I don't agree with enforcing, because like Hulkenberg, like Hamilton, you know, it's a choice. They go out there and they do this. That's their choice, you know. Not only that, again, it's just absurd. It's absolutely absurd that they want to enforce this. And yet again, I understand it's safe, but then why put drivers in there? You're never going to eliminate the risk, you know. It's just absurd. We've had nearly 20 years without someone getting something through the visor and dying. And as I said, it's a shame that Ayrton Senna had that, and it's a shame about Jules Bianchi. May they rest in peace. But my opinion, and I really do want you guys' opinion on this. So yeah, as I said, it's just, yeah, it's one of those things. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Please leave a like if you did. Subscribe to see more. As I said, I will have a video out next Tuesday, maybe Monday. I haven't actually looked at what time the race is on here. Yet again, I don't necessarily have these things up straight away, which I should, but sometimes it's a little difficult because it's like 3 in the morning. Like Bahrain, I didn't, like the race finished at 3 in the morning, so it's a little difficult, but it will be Monday or Tuesday. And if you guys are interested, I do Call of Duty, I'm doing the games with gold, so if you have Xbox, any games that come out on there, I play, and suggest any games you'd like me to play, and leave a like if you did like it, because it helps me out, it shows that you guys are liking this. Yeah, as I'm just coming across the finish line now in the gameplay, so, and I'll show you guys the result. I hope you enjoyed, see you next time.
Mercedes have won today's race, and what a result for the team. Niki Lauda rightly called it as one of the drives of the season.